let's have a deep dive into the actual episode, and we'll go through it. If you haven't seen it, spoiler, but don't worry about it. There's not that much to spoil, right? But again, the tone of the production is very different. There, you get that straight out, right? Because you get a voiceover from Ncuti Gatwa, basically, introducing it. You got the direction's excellent, by the way. The guy who directed Rosa, man, he's got a lot better since then. So it starts off, you see the snow falling. Unfortunately, the snow is much better before health and safety came along and made you not. And if we can use some more environment destroying stuff. So we have this is the church on Ruby Road, and the doctor narrates that this woman who looks like Jodie, I think it'll be Millie. I will find out. Has a baby. That's not what a newborn looks like. I am out your mind, but okay, fine. And leaves it outside in the snow, outside of the church, I guess. And the priest comes out and looks after and takes them in. And the clock strikes midnight, right? And the doctor walks out crying, and he says, "But the time traveler came and changed everything," or something like that, right? It was again for me. His take on the Doctor is different. So my basic vibe I got with this is that David Tennant's Doctor, David Tennant's 14th Doctor, just lives and chills out and has a very, very chill life for the next 100 years, 200 years, till he regenerates 300 years, 500 years, right? And then he regenerates in a super chill Ncuti Gatwa. It must have been he hung out with people with Scottish or Rwandan accents that he liked a lot, which he emulated. But now this Doctor is very, very emotionally removed from previous Doctors. He's very fluid, very unconcerned about himself, very open to things. But still, I think he's the Doctor who has just gone through some personal healing. Like all the angst of the time were well gone. He's just he's living in the moment. He strikes me as have you ever seen Breaking Bad? There's a I think in the middle they start going to a drug rehab group, right? Basically to sell drugs to people there. And the guy running it has this, who was a massive alcoholic or coke fiend or something, end up accidentally killing his kid, and has gone through all that pain and trauma, has become a very stable and mellow person, which is how I feel Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor is, right? But still feels like the same guy to me, right? So let me get the titles. Titles I like a lot, right? I do like these titles a lot. Yeah, I think they're just good production. So fine. So now again, this is Millie's story. This is. I mean, honestly, we don't get to see much of the Doctor in this. We get to see more of him than we did in Christmas Invasion. And it starts off with Davina McCall. She's got this show that she finds out the DNA of trying to put orphans, foundlings, together with their parents by using their DNA search. So and she's recounting the story of how she got left, and she is just gorgeous. I mean, just ridiculously gorgeous, right? And while they're recording, there's some little cackling noises in the background, and essentially they're naughty goblins there. Causing trouble, right? You see a goblin reach up and move the coffee over, and then stretch this wire out, and then some woman gets to get the coffee and knocks over the lamp and nearly kills her. And then 3 weeks later, fine. So now we're dragged out of it by your weird insanity about trans people, Russell, right? The Doctor's watching Ruby. So it seems... I don't think this story is as linear as it appears to be. I think he's been circling Ruby for quite some time, right, about something that's going on. And the Doctor is definitely observing Ruby, right? So, and again, we have this trans guy. And I hate to tell you, look, Russell, here's the thing. If you want to have a conversation about trans people, that's fine. But what you want to do is just scream me into submission. Like, how do I know this guy isn't mentally ill, right? How do I know he's a woman and not mentally ill? Because, like, he's got a penis and he's not a woman. I mean, he's dressing as a woman, right? But how do I know he's not mentally ill? How do I know he's a woman? Why are you so freaking sure about it? And why do you scream at me to shut up when I ask you these questions? Which seems perfectly, like, if I'm genuinely concerned that this is a mentally ill person, you're encouraging mental illness amongst children by inserting this person in it, well, you need to have this conversation. Oh, how dare you? How can you say that? Because it's an important fucking issue. If you're going to be real about this is a conversation you need to be able to have. And quite frankly, the activist trans movement aren't up there, right? They're not up there essentially because of people like Russell Davis trying to normalize this. The reason they don't let you speak is because they need to be validated because they know it's not real, right? But and like you just, I think you're causing trans people more harm, right? The more visibility you have, the more people go, yeah, there's no way they can view that as being normal. Whereas in terms of black people, right, in the 70s, yeah, or Pakistani people in the 80s, right? A greater interaction with them, and you get to see that they're just normal people. When the people you want to show as being normal people, their central, most identifiable trait is them being abnormal. You're not going to be able to show that, right? Like when you had Barry and whatever his name is on EastEnders, like one of the first gay couples, you just saw normal people having a relationship, right? You saw beyond, so that normalcy helped. Here it doesn't help because it's a bloke in a fucking dress, right? And it doesn't stop being a bloke in a fucking dress just because he says I'm a girl, right? And then we got the other story. Let's say that he's not mentally or she's not mentally ill. Let's just say that's the case. And then we got to talk about the women's sports and women's spaces. Like that's a lot to be worked out. All these things you just shout into silence, right? And these are honest, genuine, real questions. But basically, look, when you have things like this on TV, normal people get skeeved out, right? This is why Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light has imploded because Dylan Mulvaney skeeves people out because he's fucking weird, right? Because he's a guy with a 5 o'clock shadow saying he's a little girl. That's fucking weird, right? And I'm not saying round up all these trans people and put them into camps and kill them. Absolutely not. They can be trans. I don't care. But will you stop portraying it as if it's like a boon to society, which it isn't. It's a boon to people like you, Russell, right? When I think people like you, I don't mean gay people. I mean like weirdo champagne socialist activists. And generally speaking, I think Russell's a pretty darn good person. I think he's just been subsumed totally by the evil woke mind virus, right? I think that's really the best way of explaining it, right? But anyway, so why are we having this conversation that's somewhat disparaging about trans people? Because you inserted it into the conversation. So next, Millie's at a club on her own for some reason. I mean, like how people are not flocking around her is beyond me, right? And now we get the doctor dancing. So I think this works in terms of a character. But again, you can't detract that this is gay masturbatory fantasy material, right? But I can see the doctor getting to... This is more of a description of where the doctor is in this incarnation, which is pretty out there, right? Pretty like, I'm willing to try anything. I have no boundaries. I'm very, very relaxed and mellow, right? So she nearly drops a glass. And he's like, no, health and gin and tonic division. And then he goes, and then the table's been moved. So you see those little goblins have been causing trouble. So now, famous location for Doctor Who fans, right where Henrik's is. You have 4 totally normal girls and 1 penis on a night out on the razzle. Right? And off they go. And look, mate, wearing the tights and like, again, me seeing you makes resistance to this. Because I go, oh, that's fucking weird. That's what was up with that? Right? I never said that when I saw gay people. I never said that when nobody ever said it when I saw black people. Right? There's no way you can sell me a somebody cross-dressing is normal, because cross-dressing is abnormal, right? And again, but like, at least this isn't like slap me in the face like what Starbeast. And also in character, I'm kind of in story, I don't mind, because I see somebody like Millie in 2023 would probably have a trans friend, right? Because it's always something, a badge of honor. Meanwhile, the Doctor sees that there's a giant snowman about to fall down. Just drenching. No, that's Jasmine Finney. And so he changed the sonic screwdriver so the light goes green. They drive away, and then he sees somebody with a pram. He's like, out the way! And this is a good shot, by the way. Again, this is where Rose worked, and the head falls off. Boom. And the Doctor comes out and says, "What are you doing with a pram at midnight? You shouldn't be like you have a baby at this time." She says, "I'm doing Christmas shopping." Piss off, right? So then again, this can be looked at 2 ways: somewhat as a gay masturbatory fantasy, which I'm sure it's going to be, and also not as that. That you can like I could view Perry as a American botany student who happened to like to dress like a slut, or I could view her as masturbatory wank bag material. And she was both, right? She was both. But for me, again, in the world of Doctor Who, this doesn't... That I know that if you're gay, you'll be able to stroke yourself off to this. Doesn't really bother me, right? So it's the whole like twink older man scenario. And he's like, I'm going to have to report this. As okay, name the Doctor, occupation, not a doctor. I live in that blue box over there. So he heads over there, and I thought this was a very doctory moment, right? I thought this was a really good doctory moment. He says, "Oh, she's going to say yes and marry you." He said, "Well, like, what do you think?" "Well, my sonic screwdriver, and I like his new sonic as well." I'm not really up there to buying. I'm buying in merchandise, right? I'm not. I have to see how the season is before I buy the Blu-rays, right? But I would be open to buying this if this season is good. But I'm not really up there to get the. I might get an action figure of Shooty, but I'm not buying the sonic screwdriver. But I do think it works, though, right? Dan H didn't know what a twink is. Well, there you go. That makes him perfect to be made into a twink. Fine. So yeah, we go great bit saying he's detected a 2-carat diamond. So he knows his fiance's girlfriend's going to say yes. Says, well, how do you know? Says, well, you got a 2-carat diamond. The sales start next week, but you couldn't wait, and that because you love her so much, and that's why she's going to say yes, right? And again, it was Holmesian deduction in a Doctor Who setting, which again I think very much works, right? And it was fine, right? It was fine. Again, this Doctor is just like, I'm going to wear a kilt today. I don't give a shit, right? And off the TARDIS goes, and it's not really a problem when seeing the TARDIS disappear. People are like, oh, okay then now. And he just walks away and says, oh, she's going to say yes, right? So next day, there's a bus from Westminster. I'd like, what's going on here? House of the Parliament to Notting Hill Gate. You get the tube. But anyway, off Millie gets with the shopping. Here's all the location filming that we've seen. So here's an interesting thing. Anita Dobson's Mrs. Flood is there's a lot more going on with her story than we see in this episode. I think this episode is putting out little breadcrumbs that are going to be tied together over the upcoming 8 episodes. Because when she first starts, she's pissed off. Somebody has parked the TARDIS right in front of her house, and she's blaming this Muslim guy about it. and saying, nobody can get by. And she has no idea what it is. And Ruby's like, and she's like mad as hell. Ruby's like, well, that's all strange. And then she goes. Meanwhile, Goblin Hand comes out and scratches the bottom of the bag and loses her groceries. She goes in and we get to meet the extended family. Now, I was concerns for probably the wrong way, the wrong word for it, right? You think Michael Q says Mrs. Flood is River Song? That's interesting. I like that we're talking about it, frankly, right? So I thought her adoptive family were two lesbian lovers. No, it's a mother and daughter, and I'm quite relieved about that. It feels like it's not, again, smacking me in the face with the message. So she says, "I dropped the eggs," but then she comes in and her mother, who first says hello to her grandmother. Her mother says, "We're having a baby. We're having a baby." It's like, well, apparently they're foster parents. And they've just had call. They're getting a baby today, right? So they're all excited, getting the crib together, and the baby arrives. I have to tell you, look, I don't know if Millie's acting here seems very naturalistic. Like she seems like genuinely like a young lady with given a baby to look after. They are just like this. They're like, oh, so cute, right? She's very feminine, right? Which is what I like. Like, and they're not feminine in a sexual way, but she's feminine in a feminine way. So they gives her the records, and they said they get her set up in the bedroom. And they said, "Oh yeah, we better go get some diapers." They try to find some diapers, but they're for 6 months old, so she has to go shopping for some. And she's got a thing which says, "I take a picture of all the kids I foster." So you still get filmed with that camera. So the incredible thing is, you just wait; they come back in fashion, and that's exactly what happened with these cameras. So she puts the picture on the fridge of all the people that she's fostered. And you start to paint a picture of this really lovely woman, right? And I think it's a very lovely, very genuine, very three-dimensional woman, right? Tzvi Lebetkin says, "Got on to the flood, a worldwide disaster of literal biblical proportions, which wiped away the evil people to make way for the new virtuous." Hidden message? Probably, right? Probably. But I'm just going to go what I'm seeing right now, right? What I'm seeing right now, I'm fine with. And so we talked about. She talks about all the people that she's fostered, and she goes out and she's going to do a shop. She's going to get stuff for the baby. She's going to get new diapers. She's going to get the eggs. And Ruby's in charge, right? So then she gets a call, and it's from Davina McCall. It says, "Not great news, I'm afraid. I know it's your birthday. Her birthday is Christmas Eve. They can't what? They can't. Tell me what they can't." I was going to say it's Christmas Eve, but she's got bad news for her, right? They've done like DNA searches, and they can't find any trace of her whatsoever, right? Like no trace of her whatsoever. No idea who her parents are, and she's very disappointed. Like she's sorry, she tries to like hide her, but isn't overly successful. So then she asked, "Have you been experiencing some bad luck recently?" And she said, "Look, I've had all this weird bad luck, and it goes back to when we first met." And he said, "Yeah, but I'm just being clumsy." I said, "No, I don't think it is that. Like, I was trampled by a moose. All these things happened, and then all of a sudden, you see the Christmas tree and the naughty goblin hands, and the Christmas tree falls down. It looks like it's going to kill her. Ah!" And she signs off. Right, so you have no idea what happened to her. Then you hear these weird little cackling voices from the baby room. So she goes, it says, as her mother Lee said, rule number one of looking at being in charge, don't lose the baby, right? Do not lose the baby. Don't eat the baby. the other white meat. She goes in, and the baby's gone, right? The baby's gone. She's like, what's going on? And she finds the camera, and there's a picture of a goblin there. They took a picture of himself by mistake. And she sees the goblins just climbing out the skylight, and she's like, what the hell? So this is very good at setting up who this companion is, because a companion needs to be brave and ballsy, right? Just that's what a companion needs to be. I think they did the same thing with Rose when she swung across the parapet and used the anti-plastic against the altar, right? The establishing who she is, and she was like what? Yeah, what? Did you just hiss at me? And she was good. She was good at like dealing with them, right? And they have the baby, and they better take it up. So she climbs up on the rope ladder. So again, my theory for this, this is how it seems to me. That these goblins come from, as we're going to be talking about later on in the episode, have a different set of rules of reality, right? So I think they're from a different reality, or like realities are merging or something. It's something to do with mavity being gravity being changed to mavity. Now reality is now mutable. There are no fixed points in history, and you make a change, and then then think things change. So anyway, so she's hanging on to the rope ladder, and then I think this is pure Doctor Who now, right? We get lots of pure Doctor Who moments. The Doctor's running over the roof as she's on the ladder, and he is great at this. He hardly noticing the chimneys, just hopping over them. This is what I like the Doctor to be, right? I like the Doctor to be competent and in charge, right? Basically, Ruby's just another Rose Tyler. No, she's starting off very similar to that. Russell didn't bring anything new to the table, yeah, apart from current day thinking. I think so, right? The fact that she's adopted, the mystery of her background, this is like Rose meets Clara, I would say, if you're talking about modern Doctors. But again, the chemistry we see between them is Joe Grant, third Doctor, Sarah Jane Smith, fourth Doctor, right? We really see the chemistry. Right, so what are you doing? Like, why did you get onto it, right? And he jumps over, and it's great. Like, he jumps over, and he's on the ladder with it, and he's very charming, right? I like that smile, right? I'm imagining it from Ruby's point of view because you see the back of her head, right? That smile is reassuring and disarming, right? When Jodie smiled, I got scared. Like when Jodie smiled, an angel lost its wings. Making Frank about it isn't making me like her more. That's probably true. So then they're on this ladder as it goes up, and you're like, I can't hold on. And he's made these sciencey gloves that put all this is where they say mavity. They put all your tension and stress and gravity just in the hand, and it takes it on, so you're free. And then the music for this was really great, right? Where he like swings freely and shows how. Is this seen as a do I have it as an MP4? No, it's the MKV. It probably won't play. Right, but the scene on that, the music that I thought was pure Doctor Who, right? Like he's really selling me that he is that character, that adventurer, right? An adventurer in time and space, a devil may care adventurer in time and space, right? And that's who he is, who's deeply moral, right? It's ticking all the boxes for me for what I'm expecting to see from Doctor Who. Great effect shots as well as they get pulled up above the clouds, and again this glee and excitement. David Tennant's Doctor did that when he saw the werewolf, right, in Tooth and Claw. The excitement of seeing something new, something he hasn't seen before, something he doesn't understand, right? Because like, why are these goblins here? Like these are fantasy. If the 15th Doctor is if the 15th Doctor say daring, I'm out here, lol. I don't think he's saying daring. but he sees like the goblin ship, and he's looking forward to it. Maverick back as the Timeless Children. Again, I don't think the Timeless Children is back. He said it was adopted, and he only found out recently. Yeah, but the other thing, here's the thing: this is mutable to one's headcanon. It's being designed to be mutable to one's headcanon. Right? He said he only found out recently. This seems to be hundreds of years after the events in the Giggle, right? This seems to be very. So for me, it could be talking about something completely different than Timeless Children, right? He said, I just found I was adopted. We don't know what he's referring to. Hopefully we don't find out, right? Have a bit of mystery about the character. That's fine. Fly Highland says, you know what? I realize this is the first episode since Cabaldi era that I watched and not gone, those effects are shit at any point. Well, here's the thing. Again, the heart is the captain of the ship. If you why do you like somebody? Why do you dislike someone? Right? And basically, most people are equal parts arsehole and good person. Right? Why do you like somebody and dislike somebody else? It's because for some reason you focus on the person's negative qualities if you dislike them, and you focus on their positive qualities if you do like them. Right? If you and that's what liking and disliking is. I think that they fuck people off so royally with their shitty 60th anniversary specials, which were a total waste of time, weren't that good, full of lots and lots of preaching. It was just generally kind of shit in every way. That they're only looking at the negatives now of it. As I said, every story you have to have you have some blanks that your mind fills in. Mine filled in all these blanks, automatically. With the Chibnall stuff, I never did because there was too much, too many like contradictions and plot holes. I said this early in the stream. It's worth reiterating it right now. A lot of people, when they see this picture, right, they see a square, but there's no square there at all. There's four black Pac-Men, as many people pointed out in the chat, right? They see a square because your mind paints it in. It's what a mind does, right? It's just automatic. So for me, the problems in this, because I'm not negatively disposed to it, are easily filled in, right? And not that annoying. And again, like this is something I could watch with my kids or grandkids, not have grandkids yet, but I can watch with kids and grandkids, and we can have a hoot. We can have a really, really fun time, right? This is fun, like watching, a Pixar movie or a James Bond movie. Just a fun time, right? So they go up and then they find the goblin, into the heart of the goblins. One of them, I think the one with the eye patch, was one of the Teletubbies. They said on Doctor Who Unleashed, it was like not Tinky Winky. It was I don't know. So they go, get them, right? And next thing you know, they're tied. And you have, again, I think a very good doctory scene, right? I would say a pretty darn excellent good doctory scene where he's where he's trying to work out what's going on, right? He's like, all this stuff. I've never seen anything like this before either, right? And then they're trying to save the baby. And so he does a little bit of jiggery pokery, and he gets his hands untied. He used to know after a hot steamy summer with Harry Houdini. Again, a lot of this is made for kids to not notice and gay people to very much notice, right? Maybe this is for gay people to sit through with their nephews, right? I don't know, but this is lots of gay masturbatory stuff, and Millie Gibson, so that kind of works for me too. So he lets them go. So they're trying to work out how to get out. And again, this I find very Doctor Who-y, right? He's like, sonic screw doesn't work because you need screws, and they use knots with this with these rules of reality, right? You use this is a magical craft in a scientific world. What's it doing here? But he's not really working that out. He's working out how to use the technology, right? So he's working out all these what the ropes and the not Stu. Oh, and no, he talked a little bit about what these goblins are, and they say they get attracted by luck, right? Weird luck and coincidence, like calls them into being, into existence, something like that, right? Because again, this is magic technology rather than scientific technology. Right, but you have the Doctor trying to decode it, and that's why the goblins came essentially because the coincidence of it being Ruby Sunday's birthday and being a foundling, and them getting another foundling on her birthday, 20 or so years later, and there's been lots of other coincidences as well, is what drew them into this reality, right? So he's trying to decode their technology, trying to work out how these knots work. And he basically does, right? And he works out how to open the door, how to climb out. Again, all this to me seems very, very Doctor Who-y. He says, oh, look, they got the equivalent of heating ducts. Or not heating ducts, of air ducts. So they're trying to work things out. And we get the Goblin song. I did think it was a lot of silly fun, right? It was fun, and again, I think we're tied to the rules of this reality, which are fantasy, right? This is a sideways step into fantasy. There is, for me, seems to be it works in the same way that Buffy the Vampire Slayer worked when they had the musical episode. But yeah, so we got a big song and dance number. We all see this many times. Where's the sci-fi? It's not sci-fi, Mr. Jekyll and Hyde. That's the thing. It's not sci-fi. Doctor Who can be hard sci-fi. Take Terminus, for example. And it's very good being hard sci-fi. Mordred Undead, most of season 20. It's very good being hard sci-fi. But certainly in the revival era, it's moved away from that, right? The template was City of Death, which is science fiction whimsy, right? And there is a lot of whimsy in Doctor Who, and there's always been a lot of whimsy in Doctor Who. Somebody pointed out, I think in the chat here, this is very similar to the technology used by the Karaites, right, in the Shakespeare Code, right? And it's where they use language to create reality in the same way. So this seems to be completely and perfectly in Doctor Who's wheelhouse. Right, it feels 100% on target. I don't think Doctor Who is a hard sci-fi TV show, right? I think it's like Battlestar Galactica, yeah, right, absolutely it is. But this, I don't think so, right? I really don't think so. It's so yeah. Also, Colin said so. Wooden Jeffries tubes, exactly. That's exactly what it is, right? And they pull out the Goblin King. I do think it's fun. Right? It doesn't have to make sense because, again, we're in a different fantasy reality, which this new era of Doctor Who is built into its DNA, they're able to do, which I think is separated quite considerably from what's gone before, right? Whimsy needs to be accompanied by sci-fi. But I think they did that, right? When the Doctor was explaining about the rope technology, like he was decoding a whole new type of physics, right? That was him doing that, right? That was 100% him doing that. And the singing seems to be part of the physical rules of this reality, and they're all singing and dancing as the baby is going to get eaten, and the Doctor falls down. They only care about classic as something that can be torn apart. I don't think so, because I don't think classic can be torn apart. I think this is we're so far away from classic. This is a reboot in the same way Star Trek Strange New Worlds was, right? We are so far away from classic, right? Now, does this have enough of Doctor's DNA in it for you, Doctor Who DNA in it for you? The answer is no, and it's totally understandable if the answer is no. Then the answer is no. I'm not going to, berate you for that. I'm saying for me, this is totally totally in the wheelhouse, right? So now we're in the famous clip where the Doctor sings and dances. I think I got this clip. Where is it? So have a look. Here we go.
Why stop?
Right, again, so that, yeah, there seems to be, like, if you watch his performance, he seems to be sorry. It's a lot, like, I want to watch him and go, oh, this is very good. I'm sorry. Is it serious? No, it's not deadly serious. I agree with you. But it works, so fine. So they do the song. And by the way, oh my God, Miller's ass looks so freaking good as she jives in the background. You know, got a lot of points for that right there. Yeah, and that's what I look like when I was watching. Oh yeah, more Millie. So fine. So they escape with the baby. Dying, and so they had a little mini adventure. She goes back down, sees her gran, and her gran meets the doctor. It's like, oh, who are you? It's like, I'm a mysterious stranger, baby. Honestly, I'm getting more into this casting more I say. And yes, I think Mega Geek's biggest problem, he said he had with him, was his accent, right? Yeah, it's a different accent that any doctors had before. I agree with you. Does it make him less doctory? Not for me. Works for me, right? Again, if this is too much of a leap from Doctor Who for you, it's fine. No, I'm not telling you you're wrong. Will it probably go south? Probably. Right now, is it good? Yeah, I think it is. So like, he's only got a little bit of power left in his gloves, but then they kind of forget that. And then the mother gets home and they're trying to like hide everything. Oh no. First, they're trying to look for anything that might have an accident. So, like, turn off the oven, turn off everything, and he sees all the pictures on the fridge. And here we're actually getting to the emotional heart of the episode coming up right now, and it does have, I think, a very strong emotional heart. As they look at the all the people that she's fostered, right, and it's a really lovely scene. Right, about doing something really virtuous and good about a very virtuous, good person. So they go and check on the baby. Everything's fine. The mother comes home and they're like, "Oh, what's are the goblins going to come back? What's going on?" Said, "Well, we're trying to work out." So they're trying to hide it from the mother, and they're having a great little bit of like quiet, like hissy fit arguing, like which I think really works. And you're like, "Well, where's this picture of the goblin come from? It's only a toy," and then. Ruby's like, look, Mum, can we give it a rest? I've had a really terrible day. It's my birthday. It's Christmas Eve. I had a terrible day. I got a call from Davina McCall. They couldn't find anybody for me, and it's just been a crappy day, right? And I love, honestly, as much as I love the Doctor Ruby relationship, which we saw all the way through the goblin ship thing. I love the Ruby Sunday and whatever her mother's name, Mrs. Sunday. I know the grandmother's called Cherry Sunday. So it's really cute. Anyway, so there's a bunch more coincidences happen. They keep saying, "Oh, what a coincidence! What a coincidence!" And like the lightning happens and weird things are going on. Suddenly, there's a massive the window shatters and the crack goes throughout the house, and the Doctor follows it. And he's like, look, I think this is them saying goodbye. I think they're gone. And they're gone now. And like, he goes around saying the baby's fine. Everyone's here. Everything's fine. No need to worry. And he said, Ruby, we should tell you a great Christmas story. And Ruby's vanished, right? He sees the picture of the goblin. The goblin's vanished. Ruby's vanished from reality. And he's like, and he coming to realize it. And then, you see how the color palette has changed, and we see what Ruby's mother is now, because she hasn't had the experience of fostering all these people. She's just a cold, miserable, and lonely person, and she knows she's cold, and like the ceiling repairs itself, or the timeline rewrites, and she knows she's miserable, and she knows she's cold, right? And she doesn't know what she's missing, but we do know, and it's heartbreaking, right? It's heartbreaking. This is 100% a Christmas Carol, right? The central message of a Christmas Carol is, if you're a virtuous person, it's worth the struggle to be that. It's worth the struggle to be to give, because it makes you happier, makes you a good person, makes you more rounded person. So essentially what's gone on is they've used the power of the coincidences to open up a time rift vortex and go and get Ruby when she's a baby and eat her instead, right? So he kind of works it out. But again, like, you know, if you don't know you're missing anything, why are you crying? It says because they feel something's gone, and I like the emotion of this Doctor as well, right? Again, am I saying it's going to be shit tomorrow? I don't know. Right now, this to me is Doctor Who, right? This to me has all the like what I feel is necessary for it to be Doctor Who, right? So the Doctor runs into the TARDIS. I hate the TARDIS, by the way. It's way too big. So now we see Mrs. Flood. She sees the TARDIS take off. She's like, what the hell's going on? That's going to be different from the end. So then we're back at the beginning again. And he's at the church, and the goblins have the baby, have baby Ruby, and the Goblin King's going to eat baby Ruby. So he uses his magic science gloves to pull the ladder down, right? Puts all his weight into it. So and it pulls the entire goblin ship down, and it impales on the spire of the church, right? Going through the Goblin King, and then their ship it phases out from reality, right? The problem being said yesterday, not problem being, Mega Geek said yesterday, it exploded and made no sense that it exploded and the baby survived. I thought it exploded too, right? That's just like, it's incredible. That's why I like doing, rewatching it in more detail, because it just phased out from being. Leaving the baby there, but nothing to hold up, and it starts falling down with the Doctor catches it again. Very well directed episode, right? It rattled along very nicely. Where's the blood? There's no blood, right? I don't get why it phased out. I think because the death of the Goblin King somehow uncoupled it from this reality. Right, these are all the questions you get answered in the novelization. I would have thought, right? Probably. And then the clock strikes midnight again, and the Doctor leaves Ruby out to be picked up. And as she's going, she sees the mother. Maybe he should have taken a bit of a scan of her, but it seems like the Doctor's been more involved in this than we have seen throughout. Suggesting that maybe it's a Goblin King keeping it in this reality. That's exactly what it suggests to me, right? So she's made to look like Jodie. I don't think she's Jodie. I think it's probably Millie, right? And he goes back. He goes to check everything. Uses Sonic to open the door, and everybody's back. And everybody's still. And it's great. He said, "Oh, I went back. I saved you. You were gone." I said, "Oh, now I've got to do something else." And off goes the Doctor. She seems like she's been a companion of the Doctor now for a bit, right? Between the last time we saw her, we saw her just now when he turns up. And this time, right? She seems like she's been on like a few years worth of adventures with the Doctor. She really knows what's flying. So he says, I just got to remember, got to do one other thing. And he goes and saves Davina McCall, basically so he can have this line say, "Merry Christmas, Davina McCall." That's for the trailers, right? Why it wasn't in the BBC trailers, I don't know. But again, so very optimistic, and he gets called over by Mrs. Flood. And he's looking up, saying, "Am I so Billy, basically Millie is Dave Lister?" Yes, right. So Matthew Banner says Doctor keeps encountering commanders as kids. Something very disturbing about that. Very BBC. You're making a good point. You're making a good point. So now he's racked with self-doubt. Was he the lodestone that brought this like bad luck to them, like because he really likes Ruby, right? And now you got Mrs. Flood wants to like try and talk him into taking her, even though you don't really see that. Finally, was it Cherry Sunday gets a cup of tea. She didn't ask for a cup of tea the whole episode. And she's like, "What are we going to do with the big, all this massive hole in the roof on Christmas? No one's going to clean it, right?" And she's like, "Hey, you get about a bit in your boxer, haven't you?" And they seem to have some kind of rapport, these two. At the same time, Ruby finally is unpacking the events of the day, and she realizes he's a time traveler. Wait, he went back in time, and she puts it all together. Again, I think she's great in this episode. I really do. I think she emotionally pushes through, and also I think Shuti as well pushes through. A doctor-companion relationship can make an era, right? And I think this is we could be there with that. So she's like, "Oh, where'd he go?" And the all-knowing Mrs. Flood, very different from how we saw her earlier, and said, "Points over there." Right, and she looks over, and the door opens, right, and she runs around the outside. So yeah, and then Mrs. Flood says, "Good luck," right? So she knows what's going on, and then she goes, and they're in there, and we get Shudigawa. He is the doctor, right? This to me is the doctor. He says, "I'm the doctor," right? And I buy that he is, right? I really buy that he is. Maybe do that clip on YouTube. Let's have a quick look. We have Doctor Who, Shuti Gatwa, the Doctor. Do we have that clip? It's a shame. They should really have. They should really post that clip on YouTube or social media because it works, right? Because he is the Doctor, right? As my again, this is a modern interpretation of it. He's got, other than being a gay masturbatory fantasy, he also has all the DNA of being the Doctor, right? So then we got New Who, spring 2024, and off they go, right? And so you see the Abdullah, I can't remember his name. Say, what's going on? How'd that vanish? And Mrs. Love said, don't worry about it. Everything's okay, right? It just goes. And then she looks at the camera and goes, what's wrong? Never seen a TARDIS before, and winks, right? So I like that they break the fourth wall, because you can also say, look, she's just talking to herself, and the camera happened to be there, right? She just told that, and the camera happened to be there. So look, what was presented on screen had all the DNA of an episode of Doctor Who to me. I like Shuti Gatwa a lot. I like Millie Gibson a lot. I think their relationship is sparkling and sparking. I think he's a gay masturbatory icon. At the same time, I think he has all the DNA of being Doctor Who as well. I think the sideways step into fantasy works, and I think there's there's easy headcanonry that one can do to explain away the stuff, and it doesn't really bother me at all, right? So if it bothers you, that's great. This is subjective, right? For me, again, because I think it was an entertaining experience I could have with children that has all the DNA of Doctor Who. So they have all the ingredients set out for an interesting, exciting season coming up, which I'm going to watch. And I will report on it honestly. If I think it's shit, I'll tell you the same. If I think it's mediocre, I think it's mediocre. We'll find out. Yeah. Problem. Somebody says thinks Mrs. Flood is old Jodie Whittaker. Could be. Who knows? Right? Everybody bi-regenerate. There's like old versions of all the Doctors now with a bi-regeneration thing, which I think was a bit of a dumb idea. Right. But let's have a look at the the teaser trailer they put out last night. So, the first thing I'm seeing here is the multiple costumes seems to be working better than I thought. Why? Because I think Shuti Gatwa is on his charisma and on his energy alone. He's putting it off.
Into the vortex.
I have the whole.
I really don't like the TARDIS. So it's ridiculously big.
I have the whole universe at my fingertips.
Oh, this is new.
You can't! Happy Road Studios!
Man, that looks pretty darn good. Look at that. Okay, well, I get the whole 6 episode looks like a classy production. I hope it's good.
Studios!
All right, let's take it from the top.
Ruby, there are powers beyond the universe.
Are you getting scared because you're just babbling now?
I like that monster. I think we saw the location filming for that.
Are you getting scared because you're just babbling now?
Mouthbuster!
No job, no boss, just fun.
Okay, yeah. One of the bad things, Yasmin Finney is definitely back. Oh, what a beautiful girl. Where what? Where's the beautiful girl? I don't know. I can't see one. Maybe is the beautiful girl behind Yasmin Finney? That will make sense because she's got a big broad chest.
Just fun.
Classic.
I'd love it if you came with me.
Color me intrigued, baby. I mean, that's basically where we are. Color me intrigued. I liked it a lot, right? I did. I liked it. I saw it twice. If season 1 is good, I will buy the Blu-ray of that and the Blu-ray of this, right? If not, right? I don't mind. Maybe Business Flood is a recast Dota Chaplain. That'd be the third Dota Chaplain. I have the whole world, so let's go back to England again and again and again. Apparently so, right? Apparently so. So if it's not for you, I understand. If you're worried that it's going to be unspeakably woke and lecture you nonstop, I understand. I agree with it. Probably is. If you don't like the grooming aspects of it, I understand. I'm just saying what they put on film, what they put on screen. Entertained me, and I don't think it was dumbed down. Problem being, I think the whole thing about the fantasy logic was quite clever, right? Again, you have to see where they go with it, right? Where they go. Maybe by the time we get to the end of the season, I'll be like, well, this was excruciating shit. But where we are right now, if I went again, if they didn't do the damn stupid David Tennant specials, people would be very much more happy with this. People will be much more excited about this, right? The Tennant specials weighted this down. If you went from Shooter Gatwa, if you went from from Peter Capaldi to Shooter Gatwa without having the whole Jodie bullshit in the middle, I don't think anybody would have batted an eyelid at it, right? I really don't think anybody would have batted an eyelid at it. So the problem is saying he talks like a moron, like classic. That stuff works for me because you do have the moments where he shows mettle, where he shows intelligence, where he shows, the doctor's like freewheeling mind, right? So that worked, right? So that I think you could balance the two. It never worked with Jodie because she never showed the character of the Doctor, right? She never had that internal metal, right? Whereas he's already demonstrated it to me, right? Where he goes, I'm the Doctor. I believed him, right? I felt like he was the Doctor, right? And I think I don't know what this new era is going to show us, going to take us, but I think the pieces they put together here are solid. Right, are solid. Could they fuck it up? Fair chance. Fair chance. Time will tell. Time will tell. But I enjoy this. I haven't been able to say that about Doctor Who since Twice Upon a Time. So I'm quite happy about that. Right, I'm quite happy about that. And this, with the complete knowledge that there is the Doctor is now a gay masturbatory fantasy. I understand that. Right. I think he's also Doctor as well. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know if it'll take off. I don't know if it'll be successful. Look, it's going to be around for minimally two seasons. They're filming it now, right? Who knows? Who knows what they'll see? Plus, you also got to factor in the changing of the tides at Disney. With Bob Iger is probably going to be ousted in early 24, because they've destroyed the stock value of Disney, right? The guy called Nelson Peltz and Mike Perlmutter are mounting a challenge, and I think they're going to be successful. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet! Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop.